I'm curious, any signs that you kind of watch for if a team is still in renter mode? And if somebody listening to us wanted to try to shift that more towards ownership, as there's more ownership in their climate. What do you think?
That's such a good question. It's such a pet peeve of mine too, because I just truth be told, so I own the Turk Group. We're a consulting company. We do learning and development solutions, and we're about 15. I've got 15 kind of experts, freelancers that like report into me, and it's one of my pet peeves. And for me, like what it looks like is where people are bringing back to me kind of what I asked for,
Mhm.
nothing more,
Right.
and they're bringing no critical thinking to the process. So it comes back to me exactly as I asked for it, which stimulates additional thinking on my part, which that for me is representational of like a renter's mindset. So just sort of like, okay, the ceiling has a water stain. What do? I call the landlord. Look,
Right.
I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Versus, owning it would be it's coming back to me like, here's James, what you asked for. I took the liberty of actually going further and anticipating what I think the client's really looking for. And I went ahead and built that out for you because I think we would be well served to get ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Right. So that's ownership for me. So really invested in really driving things forward. The equivalent of me owning that house and seeing the leak in the ceiling, before I fix it. All right, like, what's my policy? How much is it going to cost me? Does it have to happen right now? It's a whole different just mindset, right?
Yeah.
And if I can get the owner mindset, typically it's more gratifying for my team and just the work output and quality is much greater.
Part of my question is, how do we get them to do it? And I'll say this is, now that I've owned a company for like 24 years, I would be such a different corporate employee
Yeah.
if I went back, because I think that way. But a lot of people haven't. So even there's no guarantee, there's no formula, there's no do this, just add water and
Yeah.
they're going to take ownership. But one thing that comes to mind is, am I demonstrating ownership myself? I guess that might be
Right.
one thing. Is anything else come to mind of something we could do to encourage more of
Oh,
exactly
for
what
sure.
you're talking
So
about?
I think one of the things we can do is just pull people into the process as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Whether it's delegation or whether it's coaching, most things that you're working on are we versus like you
Right.
versus me. So
Right.
here's what we're working on. Big picture, here's the context and goal. I'm curious as to your ideas around how we might solve this.
That's good.
There's a wide degree of like their capability of doing that, but even small things, getting them involved is going to give them a sense of kind of commitment and ultimately ownership
Mhm.
versus me handing it off, do it this way, here's your deadline. Sure, people will do it, but it'll be more kind of compliance versus kind of wanting to do it. So if I pull them in, here's what we need to do. Let's build this together. Here's the piece that you're going to take. It's really important that we get that right. And it'll fit with this. And it's going to serve the greater purpose of the team, the organization.